everybody out there in Grip World. This is Napalm Jedd Johnson from DieselCrew.com, and I'm joined by Alan Heineck once again. This is episode 68 of This Week in Grip, and today we've got a little follow-up from one of our last calls that we want to do and talk about this topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while, plate flipping. I don't know if I like it or not. But first off, I want to let you know that we ask that you do like the video. Our goal is to get 10% likes in proportion to the views. So if we get 400 views, we want 40 likes. What do you say, Big Daddy? Go ahead down there and click the big thumbs up button right now. Click it hard. Make it count. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe and sign up for post notifications. So every time a new video comes up, you'll get a notification about it, either on your or in your email. Go back into the past shows. Look at episode 66. That's what we're going to be talking about first off. That's the handshake power and Rich Williams' 560 axle deadlift. Go ahead and make sure you watch that one. And if you haven't yet, then today's going to be a big spoiler for you. So just shut this one off. Hit like first, shut it off, and go back to listen to that. Episode 67, we talked with Joe Sullivan. He talked about his experience at the Cross Canada Grip Challenge, and I had to scoot out early. I'm real sorry about that, Alan. Hopefully everything went okay after I logged off.
Well, things did, yeah. It was a good chat with Joe. He's a nice guy. I had a good time talking with him.
Oh yeah, he's the best, man. He's the best. On the YouTube channel, guys, I'm really trying to answer your questions. I've been squeezing them in every chance I could get. Some of them I've even been doing with my daughter. She really likes it. She has a few channels that she watches regularly on YouTube, and she said, Dad, I want to help you out with your YouTube channel. So some of them I've been sitting down with her. So
that's a really nice touch.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I've heard from my wife saw one and she giggled and thought it was cute, and a couple other people that I know have watched them and thought that they were pretty sweet. So we're going to keep on doing it every so often, but obviously she can't sit in the front seat with me when I'm riding in a car or something like that, and sneaking in a question. So, but she'll be on there some more. So you've been enjoying those, Alan?
Yeah. Actually, I get a real kick out of them. So you handle a lot of those questions really well too. I've seen the way some other YouTube, I'm not going to call you a YouTube personality, but some of the other YouTube people out there, Brian Shaw, Phil Heath, guys like that, they handle some of the questions you get hit with kind of come from almost like a sarcastic angle, and you guys all handle them quite well though. There's definitely a way to spin it the other way, but you guys, you stay on topic and you address it almost in a way that kind of silences some of that crap that was coming at you. So I think you did a real good job with that. Yeah.
Well, thanks. I've been dealing with that. Been dealing with that sarcasm for quite a while, so I think I'm getting good at it. But now that I say that, some sarcasm champion will probably come in and drop a bomb on me. So shouldn't speak too soon. Alan, what's been going on, dude? Anything to report in your training or anything cool from like the last week or so?
No, nothing overly exciting. Kind of trying to make some steady progress, I guess. I think I need to rethink my hand positioning on the moon top a bit, I guess, after seeing Cody Burns pulling and holding 50 pounds. And that wasn't the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a while. But the jug, that I'm just having a hard time squeezing into my training. It's just like I cannot give that the attention it deserves. I've just got so much other crap I'm working on, so. But other than that, block weights are moving along, and thick bar is kind of slow, as always, but coming there anyway. How about for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, dude. I moved all of my grip, not all of it, but I moved all the grip equipment that I need right now for King Kong and the other primary goals that I'm working on. I've moved all those down to the gym at Peak Strength and Fitness. So both of my midweek grip workouts that I did this week, I did down to the gym. And it's a little bit different. Like, it's hard to film. Like, I can't get a real good angle because the grip room is also a storage room for, like, my ropes and I got an extra dumbbell rack in there, so I'm a little crammed. So
sure.
So I had to shoot through a doorway when I did this 1 feet this week. I actually lifted a 60-pound hex dumbbell inverted for the first time ever this week.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I was happy with that because I haven't trained that. I think it just came along because I've been continuing to train the Ironmind Blockbuster, and I've been doing Blobfather and Blobzilla work, so I think it just kind of came along with that. But it was neat getting down there. Like the first night, I had 2 people come in while I was training, and one of them is a potential, customer, member. So that was a little bit weird because I don't usually get interrupted too much in my training at my house and my garage, but that'll take a little getting used to, but that's all right. I got to watch my mouth. I can't be dropping, crazy swear words and stuff when I get all upset with failures and things. But it went well. I'm happy. It's going pretty good, and the fact that I haven't taken everything down there forces me to stay a little bit more focused. I can't just say, "Ooh, look at this R ring that I haven't trained on in 2 years. Maybe I'll grab that and start working on that for an hour out of nowhere." I'm not able to do that right now. So it's been pretty good. It's a good week of training.
Sure. Why are you keeping the Blockbuster in right now, just for fun?
Why? Do you say why?
Yeah. Because I've actually been doing the same thing for some reason. I always got to play with that. I don't know what it is, but I really like the implement for some reason.
Yeah.
And even though I shouldn't be focusing on it, I just can't not.
Yeah.
Strange.
Well, a couple things. It's a mid-range area that I never trained before probably 2017. I think in 2017 is when I put up a workout of the month on TGA for the Blockbuster, and I was only able to get in like the 70s. So it was really, really tough for me. And then put all that time training on it, like from February to April for the April contest in Philadelphia this year. So I didn't want to lose what I had gotten. So I like to do like maybe 5 sets of 2 per week on the pinch block just to maintain. And
okay.
I actually pulled a PR. I think I didn't have the scale with me, but if you figure a 5-pound loading pin and pinch block total, then I got 90 pounds in training. So that would have been a PR for me this week.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, that's a solid pull on that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, if I do more, I figured out the numbers. If I do more than like 10 sets on the flask, that's when I get like running a risk for a tear. So instead of doing all the training on the flask that I normally would, I've been doing pinch block as the additional volume training because the edge on it is so round that I don't think I've ever torn on it. So that's part of it too.
I've noticed for some reason, because I hadn't played with the flask for a while because I kind of tweaked like a tendon in one of my fingers, and it when I would grab and pull on the flask or anything that would allow my fingers to almost hyperextend a little bit, it aggravated the crap out of it. So I was using the Ironmind block for a while, and I actually noticed even though it's so much wider, it almost I don't know that you'd call it carryover so much, but I didn't lose the weight on the flask that I expected I would have. So it seems like they've complemented pretty good, and I definitely agree about the tearing thing. I don't know how you can do. Maybe somebody's done it on the Blockbuster. We're bound to hear about that, but that's just such a skin-friendly device. It's easy to get a lot of work in on it and not run that risk. So
right. So there's, it's kind of it's a pain in the ass to get it to chalk up, but once it's chalked, it's pretty good. And right now, I'm not going to call myself the chalk whisperer. I'm not going to try to take that title from Luke by any means, but I think I've figured it out a little bit so that I can at least do it better than I used to be able to. So I'm not being limited by that slippery ass paint on there either. So I don't hate it as much. So all that goes into, a decent alternative to the flask so I don't tear every time.
Sure. When you talk about chalking, I've never gotten that one figured out. I see people talking about like doing this clockwise or counterclockwise and all this stuff. I'm sure they got some wisdom behind it. For me personally, I just get the best luck just by literally patting it on each side with my hands.
Dude, that's what I did for years. That's what I did for years. I never really did much of taking the chalk block and rubbing it on there. And I don't do the circle stuff. I really just go back and forth, and it seems to work all right. But all I really chalk on there, Alan, is just that ridge that your thumb touches. That's it. Everything else is just like a conglomeration of chalk that's accumulated, and I don't do much with it. Like if Luke comes down, he'll throw another layer on there, and it's like concrete, and then that'll last like 3-4 weeks.
Oh wow!
So
that's nice.
So it really just comes down to that ridge for the thumb. If that's chalked, I can pull a lot more weight than normal. Let's put it that way. But and he always does a better job than me. It's just I've figured out a little bit, like 1 degree better than I usually can, and it's paid off.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and talk about some follow-up stuff with Rich Williams, because some stuff has come up that I wanted to address. So, and one of the comments, I encourage everybody to go back, read through the comments, okay? Because a lot of stuff got, yes, they were comments that kind of related to what I said and some stuff that I didn't say, and then you came in and you brought up some stuff that I wasn't aware of. So here's the deal. I'll just come out and say this. Rich Williams and I have some history. Rich and I went through about 2 years where we did not get along, and it got fairly ugly at points. Not where we were swearing at each other or anything like that, but it was definitely not a good relationship between me and him. And a lot of it came from statements where he was quoted in that article several years ago. I believe it was 2012, perhaps 2013, and it was when what was the online website? It was the Wall Street Journal, perhaps?
The Wall Street Journal is what it was.
Yes. So at one of the nationals, there was a reporter from the Wall Street Journal that interviewed me, interviewed Andrew Derniat. I believe maybe Cody was there. There were plenty of people there that got interviewed and quoted, etc. I thought he quoted me, perfectly. I wasn't there necessarily for what Andrew said. I wasn't there for what everybody else said. I certainly wasn't there for what Rich Williams said, because Rich Williams was interviewed over the phone. He was not at nationals. And there was a statement where Rich was quoted as saying that he made a derogatory statement about contests that take place at people's houses, and he said that he won't go to any backyard grip contests or redneck grip contests or something along those lines. And when I read that, I got very upset. I took that as an insult, and really at that time, Rich had only ever been to Mighty Mitts and to Sore Necks grip competitions. So I let him know how I felt, and immediately upon letting him know how I felt, he blocked me. Well, we got into an argument, and then he blocked me. A year or so goes by, he unblocks me, he apologizes, stuff like that, and I thought it was pretty much over. Like, I didn't really, I figured it was over and done with. But there's a lot of people that seem to remember that interview. One of them being Tommy Jennings, who came in and posted on that thread last week. And then you came in and you offered up some information that I was not aware of. Would you want to go ahead and talk about that for a minute?
Yes. So mine was based, okay, well, let me just back up a minute. So I came in to the world of grip sport way after any of this stuff had ever come out. So a lot of these things that, James Rodriguez had made mention about some history. He mentioned specifically about the article with Rich Williams and Rich's feelings about that article, and then went on to explain some of his history. I didn't know about any of these things. So I had to go on the grip board and do a bunch of digging. And anyway, I found a thread on the grip board that discussed, I think you actually started the thread about being contacted by the Wall Street Journal and about the article that was going to come out. And anyway, then a discussion started about some of the things that had been mentioned. There was a number of people that were very unhappy about what was in the article. And anyway, I kept scrolling through. I tried to read the article, but I hit something on Wall Street Journal's website where I had to subscribe or do something weird. It had this pop-up that kept coming, so I couldn't really see a lot of it. But anyway, as I got back to the thread and started scrolling through it, there was a thing from Joe Musselwhite on there. He had contacted Rich asking for clarification about what was in the article, and Rich went on to explain about basically what he had said. He did in fact say that he didn't have any interest in going to backyard or garage grip competitions, things like that. But his statement was based on, it was more or less from a financial point of view. He was like, when I go to Sorinex to compete at Mighty Mitts, they pay a big chunk of that for me to go there. That makes it an affordable thing for him to do. Whereas he can't travel across the country and go and walk into somebody's basement and do this stuff. It just, what he gains is he loses more out of the deal than he gets on the other end. That's why we'd only seen him at Mighty Mitts, was basically what had come out of that. Now, there was a reference to him saying like that the people of grip sport, it was almost like a cult type thing or something like that. That was also something that was quoted in the article. And Rich, in fact, said that he did state that, but he indicated he was saying that more in like a joking manner, though. He didn't mean it to disrespect anybody. It was just kind of the way he said it, but he didn't mean it as it came out and as it was interpreted. So in short, Rich, it sounded like he had complimented some of his fellow competitors, acknowledged that a lot of strong guys out there doing that stuff, and that was about it. But anyway, apparently, the fact that he seems like the type of guy, and what I'd seen on Facebook, and when he gets disrespected and not acknowledged, and when things like that, he takes it kind of hard, gets pissed off, and sort of almost withdraws a little bit. And I think that's kind of what we saw happen in grip. So, but that's all I really know about it, was what I read on the grip board. I don't know, you, Tommy, you guys have been around longer. You definitely have a better handle on the situation. That is just what I had seen posted from Joe Musselwhite.
Right. Well, and I appreciate you going over that, because I honestly have no recollection, and I could have gone there and liked Joe's post, and I could have read it 15 times, and I could have responded to it. I don't remember it. I honestly have no recollection whatsoever of Joe posting that. And that definitely sheds a little bit different light on the whole entire situation, I think. But here's the deal: if that was the case, I wish Rich would have just stated that to me when we were having discussions, because he did not do that. And that would have, in my opinion, that would have made things a lot different if he would have said, "No, I was misquoted. This is what I meant by that," et cetera, et cetera. And I can't even go back and review now, because he's blocked me to the extent where it's not that I can't reply to the conversation. I don't even think I can open the conversation anymore. Like, I don't ever delete any Facebook Messenger conversations, because it could be something where it might be someone that I interact with in 2012 that becomes a customer in 2016, and I have to go back and, I'll end up talking with them, and then I can go back and revisit the conversation that I had with them, maybe 4 years earlier, and I certainly won't remember that, So, I like to keep the conversations intact so that I can do that. The other thing was, there's two people that made big, long comments on episode 66. One was Tommy. The other one was James Retorides. He and I have also had interactions in the past that weren't too positive, and he and I have worked through those, and I believe we're on the same page now. And he alluded to He doesn't go on the grip board and things like that. He doesn't worry about the feet, etc. And I see where he's coming from on that. And dude, I would go in if I knew if he put up a link of where the interview was that he did with Rich Williams, and I'm assuming it was an interview, like a written interview or maybe an audio interview. I would go back and read or listen to the interview. I think, dude, obvious. I'm not taking anything away from Rich Williams' strength. He's one of the strongest people walking the face of this earth right now. So I am not taking anything away from Rich, and I would love to read, stuff about Rich, if he's talking about training and things like that. That would be super interesting for me. I read that stuff all the time, even when an interview is put up with like a "You How Are You" or like the Grippy Bend Italia guys that put together interviews, and it's even broken English. I go through there and try to decipher that stuff because I love reading about that. Mm-hmm. I just love grip and hearing more about the people that do it, and even steel bending and all that stuff. I think it's amazing. I mean, there was a get together in I believe in Pennsylvania, a month or two ago that was at like it was at Slim Farman's place, and I didn't know anything about that until the videos came out like a day later. So I watched like every single video that I saw come out. I just love that stuff. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm in this stuff because I really love it, and I'm definitely not like looking for the next opportunity to have a fight with somebody, not by any means. So, I don't want there to be heat with anybody, but at the same time, I think Rich has a tendency to like say one thing and do another sometimes. Because he says he doesn't want recognition for the feats or whatever, but then he's posting videos and saying, "Look at that, don't doubt me." Whoever doubted him? Whoever doubted Rich Williams? I don't know anybody that's ever doubted Rich Williams, and I can't think of anyone, not publicly.
Right, right.
So I just don't know. And I left a comment on Facebook under one of Rich's threads. He said something about doubting him in the video. I said, "Who doubted you?" Never got a response as far as I know, unless it was up and then he blocked me again and I couldn't read it. But I never got any notifications that I saw on Facebook. So I don't know, man. It's just I think there needs to be a little bit better communication coming from Rich about stuff, and it doesn't solve anything to just go and block everybody and go away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It leaves an air of mystery, and people will go and develop their own opinions, their own viewpoints on the thing because the communication is incomplete. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does, because one of the things that sort of set him off initially, this goes back a couple episodes, but when Brian Shaw, did the incline press with the inch dumbbells, mm-hmm. and right after that, Rich posted a video. Of course, he did a standing press, with those bells like 10 years earlier or something like that.
Right.
And he said, "Hey, I did this like a long time ago," and more or less that's what he said. But then, like right after, we talked about that. And I, in particular, made a comparison between those two lifts where I thought Brian's feat was more impressive, more or less based on reps and strict form, really. But anyway, I guess that's not where I was heading with that. But it was right after that episode aired that Rich suddenly started posting a bunch of like his grip feats, and he started making posts like they said what's harder, overhead pressing this or that, and he was alluding to Brian Shaw's feet versus what he had done. And I thought he sniffed out our video and it was addressing that. Mm-hmm. And I messaged him and he wasn't even aware the video took place. So there was something in there. Some exchange happened somewhere that like pissed him off and put all that stuff out there. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what any of that, I never even got to the bottom of it. That was actually when I invited him on the show. I thought, shit, man, come on. And we'll talk about this and clear the air and everything. And then he was very nice about it, but he just simply said he wasn't interested. Yeah. It sounded like he was just going to lay low and go about his business. But
and that's his prerogative. If he wants to do that, that's fine. But I would throw this out there. I would sit out of This Week in Grip episode and let you take it over totally and get to the bottom of all this so that there's no confusion if he wanted to. That's how bad I would like to just settle everything.
Well,
if he wasn't comfortable having me on there, then I would totally sit out, and you guys could set it up. I don't know what his schedule is. Maybe he works nights. You know what I mean?
No, you know what?
Any number of things. Go ahead, Rick.
I'll message him again. I know he said he was taking a step back from social media, but if you click a person's name, it like shows the last time they were on or whatever, if it was fairly recent. Yeah. And he's still watching. So he might not be posting, but he's looking. I'll fire him out a message, whether he replies to it or not, I don't know. But I'll definitely fire him out another message. I asked him about he one time posted basically, I don't even remember what it was. He was talking about grip training. I think he was kind of alluding to that some people kind of, I don't know, almost overdid it with regards to grip training. And talking about how he had people grip train differently, and I shot him a message asking him how he did it. And it was a private message, so it would be wrong for me to bring that, the contents of that message up now. But he took a moment to explain it. I mean, he was real nice about it. He just says, hey, what do you want to know? And I asked, he told me, and very simplistic, kind of an Ode Haugen sort of approach, if you will. But I think he's just got a naturally strong grip is kind of what it boils down to anyway. But anyway.
I think about Andrew Derniat. I mean, when he was training for Mighty Mitts in maybe it was one of the years I wasn't involved, so it could have been any of them. But he was only training grip one day. And I've heard him say that he thought that certain guys that were this one particular guy, he felt overtrained his grip, and that if he would train less, he'd actually be better. So there's two guys that are fantastic grip athletes, Rich Williams and Andrew Derniat, who have said, kind of the same things. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I mean, for me, I just love grip training. I do more grip training now than body training. It's basically what keeps me sane, and it's working for me. I'm seeing PRs. I mean, I just said earlier I lifted that 60-pound hex for the first time ever, so it's working for me. So that's how I do it. But sure, absolutely, there may be other ways that are working for these guys, and it might work better for me if I did it that way. But I don't know what the hell I would do with my time if I wasn't doing grip. I would be all stressed out.
I agree with you completely about that. When I set out to do some of the things, like lifting some block weights and things like that, doing that once a week, that's not fun. That's like one Oreo cookie or something like that. It's like I want to do it a lot. I want to do it for like an hour. It's just, I mean,
you can't eat one Oreo. You got to eat the whole sleeve.
Yeah,
bro.
And that's kind of how I am with this. It's like maybe I'd see better progress if I did it, but I guess I'd rather lift this thing 100 times rather than like once a week lift that thing once. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just not enough. That's kind of my thought. Depending on the lift, of course. I mean, if we're talking about we want to talk about the stub, our favorite event, I don't even need to do that once a week. But blocks, thick bar, things like that, I can't get enough of it.
I actually only used to train grip like once a month until the stub came along. And that's when I really fell in love with grip training right there. That's when I needed it every day, brother. That's when I needed it. So, once again, I guess we pretty much covered everything with this one. But I know Adam Bushaway seems to have a relationship with Rich Williams, a friendship going on there, and there's some mutual respect. Adam, if you want to reach out to Rich, if he doesn't get Alan's message, let him know that if he wants to come on, talk about the situation, I will sit out and just post the thing on the channel, and he won't have to worry about me jumping in there and saying anything. So I guess that's my thought. Anything else, Alan, that's pertinent that we might have forgotten?
No, just one thing I wanted to mention, in case anybody did take this the wrong way, is I wasn't trying to take anything away from Rich's strength either in any of the statements that I made. He's strong as hell.
That's a good point.
That's all there is to it. I just things get compared, every once in a while, evidently, that's just how it works, and that was all I was trying to do. So he's
right. And
shit, man, you're pulling 560 on an axle.
Dude, I can't do that. I can't do 460. I can't do 400. Yep. And I cannot do what he did standing there with the inch dumbbell suspended from ropes at shoulder height and then press them overhead. I can't do that either. So it's, I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Alan. Yep. Yeah. So what's next, Alan?
All right. Well, let's talk about that plate flipping then. Been seeing that a lot lately. I've seen some ones from, we've seen Gil flipping some 20-kilogram plates. We see a lot of guys flipping bumpers. And and this stuff was coming up before we even started seeing Brian Shaw flipping these things around when he was like unloading his yoke and stuff. So what's the mass appeal about this? It's never even crossed my mind to try to do something like that.
Well, that's my question. So I think the first person I remember doing it was, I believe he's a Russian weightlifter, but I can't remember his name right now. Boy,
I saw Travis Bajan do it years ago on like Game of Arms arm wrestling show. So Travis Bajan flipping around a bumper.
There's a dude that's like a Russian weightlifter or Ukrainian or something like that. He's like, he's a big dude, but he's not a super heavyweight. He's also put out videos doing double overhand fat grips deadlifts. Man, I want to say Klechka or something like that. Klechko. Man, I don't know. Anyway, that's just the first guy I remembered seeing doing it. And then even as recently as the last few weeks, we saw Wade Gillingham put out a video as a representative of that Real Protein. I think it's like REAAL Protein. It's a supplement company, and it was for plate flips. And two things, like what you just said. What is the appeal of plate flipping? Because I have never once had the urge to do that. And then the other thing is, are we going about all of this the wrong freaking way? Because if we're trying to get grip out in front of people, are we doing the wrong thing by talking about thick bars and blobs and things like that? And should we really just be doing something that's more basic, like flipping plates? Like, I didn't even know that flipping plates was really a grip-intensive exercise. Like I said, I've never even done it, okay? So, right. I mean, I've flipped kettlebells and, heavy-ass kettlebells. I've flipped, like beast kettlebells, the 106s. And that's definitely grip-intensive, and it will rip your calluses, and it will make your hands sore, blah, blah, blah. But there's a big difference between, like, a 20-kilo plate and what's a 106? Is that 40 kilos, 44 kilos, or something? I don't know. But
close to 50.
Yeah, yep. Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is the appeal? Let's talk about that first. Why are people doing this?
That's an interesting statement you had. About that you're curious if people are more, if that's more relatable or something like that. The flipping plates that never even crossed my mind. I guess when I think of something, when people, if the first thing that comes to my mind when I think grip would be grippers. I mean, immediately, who of us didn't have one of those red plastic handled crappy 99-cent hand grippers when we were a kid?
Right.
Or whatever, you're walking through whatever your discount store was once upon a time with your mom, and she bought that thing for you. That's the first thing that crosses my mind is grippers. Yeah. So flipping plates, through my first nearly 40 years of existence, that never even crossed my mind ever. And I saw a guy doing it, and honestly, I saw a guy flipping a plate, but that didn't immediately mean that it was hard.
Right.
He was just flipping a plate, so I didn't even get it at all. So that's actually a really interesting question if that's a thing. I don't know what the driving force is, or that to me is more of an effect. That's something like you've done a bunch of other strength training and then that just more or less happens. I've never heard of somebody like training to accomplish that feat. Mm-hmm. It's more like, hey, this is sitting here, let's see if we can flip it. Kind of my thought. But what do you think about that? That's crazy. I never gave that a second thought at all.
I mean, honestly, to me, it seems like a good way to get hurt because it's the plate is flying. You've got edges on the plate. It could end up hitting a knuckle or something like that, or you catch it wrong, you strain your finger. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the allure is. I know in high school, for like a finisher of the workout, what we would do is we would take a 45-pound plate in each hand and just hold it by the rim for time. And, you know, that in itself isn't really super hard. I suppose for people that have never done anything with their hands, it would be quite challenging. But I remember holding those things for like a minute, 45-pound plates. And it was more of a mental test while strengthening or while, you know, putting a load on your hands than it was, all right, get strong and you got to work up to these 45s. Well, I could do that the first time I ever tried. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure. Maybe people can like talk about that in the comment section, because it's one of those things where, I mean, it never crossed my mind to do it. I don't know what the benefit is. I don't know what you're getting out of it. But enlighten me. Leave a comment below. Talk about what's so hard about it. I mean, it seems like there's a timing issue, and then can't throw it too far away from yourself because, I mean, hell, you just about tear a rotator cuff or a labrum if it got too far away from you. And we certainly don't want that to happen. So I don't know.
My personal reservation. See, I don't have a bumper plate to begin with, so I wouldn't be able to do that. I do have, you know, a 20-kilogram plate, which to my understanding would be, I mean, like, that's a hell of a feat, I guess, if you can flip that and catch it. But you mentioned the size of your training area a little earlier. And I really don't have the room, truthfully, like where I'm standing right now. I'm kind of in the middle of my gym. And for me to flip a plate, as we all know, we have that term, you know, splash that we like to use, right? I flip that thing, I miss. That thing's going to go I don't know where. And I've got a furnace down here. I've got other crap down here. Expensive things like water pipes. It's just a bad idea. You know, I guess I'd have to conduct that outside. My training happens in the morning. It's dark here in the morning. So I guess it's just not something that's going to work for me, you know. Right. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's not awesome though. Maybe one day if I accomplish a bunch of my other goals, I'll pick up a bumper and give it a crack somewhere. But just definitely not on the top of my list. But still cool. And shit, you see a guy doing it, you know. Yeah. I mean, you see Brian Shaw flipping it and doing it like 3 or 4 times or whatever, and all the guys with him. I think one guy hit it like once or twice maybe, something like that. So it's a tough thing.
There must be something to it, or Brian Shaw wouldn't be doing it, I guess. But
right. So yeah, cool. Well, yeah, I guess.
You know what's funny, dude? I don't know if you ever saw any of the videos back when I used to train with the rest of the diesel crew guys back in like the early 2000s. We were in a garage that barely had any lights in it, and I swear I'm looking at a brown recluse spider right now outside my house right now, but I'm not going to go near it. When we were
I got big ass spiders in my house.
Oh God. Shit, what was I was talking about? In the garage. So this is with a 95-pound kettlebell. We were trying to do a double forward flip and catch. So you'd pick it up and you'd push the handle away from you and you tried to make it spin twice and then catch it before it hit the ground. I bet it took us several hundred tries a piece before we finally were able to do it. And it happened so many times, dude. We broke all the concrete underneath the rubber mats, and we had a big old hole in the garage. We had to go and get sand, probably pour like 10 bags of, sandbox sand in there, and then we covered up with Luan, thin sheets of Luan, and then put the mats back on there to level the floor back out. That's how much damage it created with that kettlebell. The 95. Scary stuff. Never hit our toes. I think we got a shin buster once or twice, but and definitely a few calluses got tossed. But
you see, even that I see bad things happening with that. You know, flipping kettlebells. I mean, I envision, I guess, a kettlebell hitting the ground, a handle snapping off, and meeting your face somehow with it. You know, but I guess that's just getting to be the cautious me as I get older or something. I don't know. I've had some crazy crap happen through the years.
Yeah, so. I would do it in my garage in the right spot, but there ain't no way I'm going to do it down to this building. My gosh, take the wrong wall out, the whole building falls down probably for all I know. But, you know, we loaded up a bar one time with all kinds of band tension, and we were doing lockouts out of a high pin setup, and my one friend, we told him, we said, Eli, whatever you do, don't drop that bar. Sure enough, he goes in there, he gets all psyched up, he locks that thing out. It's about a 2-inch motion, and he's like, oh, and he drops it right down in the pins, and the barbell breaks and goes right through the wall. Put a big old hole right in the wall. The barbell broke, brother.
Wow.
And snapped and flipped and went right through the wall. Yeah.
That's kind of
scary stuff.
Yeah, but boy, did you get any footage of that?
Yeah, dude, it's somewhere. It's somewhere on.
Nobody got hurt. That makes it cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's somewhere on an 8mm tape, and I don't have a video camera that works anymore to be able to find it. I've probably got 100 8mm tapes, dude.
Crazy.
Stuff that nobody has never seen the light of day. Nobody's ever seen it. Good fun. Hard work stuff.
We should do a bit of a disclaimer, you know, in case some people. You know, I can picture like some dad, you know, listening to our podcast while he's driving his kids to school or something like that, and them hearing some of this stuff. We should say, you know, you should just never do these things. You know, any of these things that just sound dangerous, that we're referring to as dangerous, just stay away from it. Do the normal things. You know, that's like, something I kind of meant to put out there a while ago. Because you don't want to be doing things that are going to be busting barbells.
True. Yeah. It's like the opening of Beavis and Butthead. Like, doing any of these things could get you fined, arrested, or even deported.
Yeah, right. No, but I'd hate to think, you know, if somebody heard this and went and wanted to give it a shot and something bad happened, that wouldn't sit well with me. So
yeah, I've done a lot.
Keep
of
in mind, everybody.
That's why I'm hurt and don't do lower body anymore. So stay away from that stuff. Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about with that plate flipping stuff, man, but maybe somebody can shed some light on this mystery for us in the comments section, Alan.
Well, yeah, you know, one additional thing, I guess, I with the exception of Gil and Dolly Chung, have we seen anybody else that's actually in the grip community, per se, doing a lot of that, or is it more or less people that are falling into the other areas that we're seeing it?
I would say most of them were other areas. So, obviously some strength athletes like Brian Shaw and whatever that Olympic weightlifter guy's name is, and then lots of people that like just use the hashtag grip training will do it. But other than that, not a lot of grip specializers.
Yeah, I'd be curious from the other guys. You know, maybe it's something they've toyed with. Maybe they do it and they're just not bothering showing the footage. So, yeah, it'd be neat to see if anybody else has been doing that or not. So.
Yeah, cool. For sure. All right, Alan. Well, I think we covered all of that stuff, dude. Why don't you take the show away?
All right. Well, that's episode 68 of This Week in Grip. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to comment down below. Let us know what you think about plate flipping. If somebody does have a way to reach out to Rich Williams and he would like to come on and be interviewed, please pass that along to him. Otherwise, I guess we'll officially call that a dead issue and move on. So thanks for listening again, and we'll be back next week with another one. We'll see ya.